We make this for 2 days. It'll last in the fridge for 2 days. After that, it starts to get discolored. Really, 2 days would be best on either one of them. So you can make a 2-day supply, and that way you're prepared. You can feed 2 or 3 times a day. I mean, I would recommend this as much as your fish will eat it. It doesn't junk up the water. It's just a pure ocean seaweed. The only thing we're putting in it is a vitamin soap that doesn't junk up the water. Phosphates in these vitamin soaps, you know, there's no nitrates, there's no byproducts. They refine them and they run them through processing so they're clean. And you know, all the websites will tell you how much better theirs is than the other, but ultimately we like to mix them up and give everybody, you know, the difference. But I would say 2 days on either one would be optimal. In the fridge. Stack them up, leave them in the fridge. Then you don't have to sit there and do it every day, twice, 2-3 times a day. You can make enough for 2 days. And then you don't have to worry about it. You're going to spend the same amount of time doing them individually as if you were to, you know, do it all at one time. Just sit down and do it all at one time and be done with it. Now the plankton, you'll notice, different color. Same thing though, it's got the omegas in it. It's got a good omega-3 count in it. If you want to... It's already about blowing up. This one's sitting out. We'll do Vitachem on this one. So while that's thawing out, I'll talk about Vitachem. Another one, real line erosion. It's going to give them the nutrition they need. The head lateral line is one of the main ones that we have to watch out for.
So do you wait until they have it?
You want to start doing this right away, as soon as you get your fish.
So you just randomly pick different ones?
Yep. Yeah, we don't do the same ones every time. We'll do it. You know, we'll do it different times of the day. We'll make up 3 or 4 different ones and just leave them in the fridge and just pick one and feed. You know, but after a couple days, whatever's there, we use it up and then we start over again and make some more. Vitachem, fish regeneration. This one's big on fish regeneration. It's going to really help to regenerate. It's bonded to amino acids. Just like we talked about in the rest of them, without the aminos, they're not absorbed. You know, they can't consume and absorb them without the aminos. So those are going to be in every one of them. This one's algae spongins. It's got the plankton extract in it, which we talked about plankton in our opening. That's where a lot of the omega-3s come from. So again, omega-3s. That's the big one. That's why we're really centering around that. This is going to help with their appetite. It's going to get them to eat more each time and more times a day. And that's what you want. You don't want to just feed them one big dose once a day. Half of it goes down the drain, and they're only getting what they can consume. You know, it's like us. We can only eat so much at one time. So more frequent, smaller feedings with different vitamin soaps daily. We want to go for. This one will also help to resist parasite bacteria infection and aid in the healing of parasite and bacterial infections. Lymphatosis, any kind of cryptocarian irritant, ectoparasites, ick. Everyone knows ick. Ick isn't the only thing out there. There's a lot of different ones out there. Ick's the one that everyone knows. It's actually a parasite that feeds off the fish. All these are going to help to prevent that from happening and aid in the regeneration of. So as opposed to nuking your tank with kick ick, malachite green, copper, things that either crash a reef or don't really work because they're not strong enough, like another one I don't sell. Pretty much preach better feeding practices, more frequent feedings in lower amounts daily. It prevents all these infections, parasite control, it prevents it all. We're going to touch a little bit on water chemistry because you can feed all you want, all the food soaps you want, and if your water's junk, you can only do so much. So we'll touch a little bit on that.
What's a good number feeding for that? So how many feedings you for?
I mean, you feed 4 or 5 times a day is fine, but not big feedings. You want to go smaller, more frequent, because if a fish is awake in the wild, they're eating, they're grazing. So they don't just go and sit down and have a 3-course, they graze all day long, all over the reef. And that's why if you dive, any of you dive, I know a couple of us dive, you go down to a reef, man, you don't have algae and cyanobacteria. You don't see cryptocarian irritants. They don't exist. They're present, but they're not rampant. And if there is any kind of small outbreak, it's cleaned up by the reef, by the inverts, by cleaner wrasses, cleaner shrimps. You know, you're not going to see that. If a fish is struck down with it, the reef consumes it. It dies pretty quick. It's weak. Triggers come along and eat them. You're not going to get that in the home aquarium. I mean, you know, you're capturing these fish and you're putting them in confined areas. They're not able to graze like they are in the wild. So we have to do this. So it's a must do. Another thing for you breeders, I know there's some breeders out there. Vitachem is going to help with mating and breeding. So if you're not using Vitachem, you're lowering your chances of a fish mating and or breeding and then having a successful clutch of offspring. And then of those offspring living. So if you are breeders, you want to use the Vitachem, you want to use the omega-3s that are found in SoCon, and you want to use all the mineral bioavailable vitamins found in Zomarine. They're all going to be very, very important to the stability of your mated and breeding pair and the life percent of the ones that live from your clutch of offspring. You can take the Zocon, you can feed it to your live brine, which I feed our live brine. We're out of today. I wish I had something to show you guys that. We got cleaned out over the weekend. You can feed this to your live brine. It's going to gut feed them everything that's in it, and then they in turn feed the fish, so the fish are consuming it again. So instead of soaking, you're giving live fish. You can do that with this. You can do it with shrimp, grass shrimp, anything that you can keep captive alive. You can feed this one, and you can feed this one. You can just put it right in the water column, and they're going to eat it. You don't have to soak anything for them. If you do have ghost shrimp that you're keeping, and you want to soak like a pellet, you can soak a pellet with this, and then feed that to the ghost shrimp. You're gut feeding the ghost shrimp, and then you're feeding the shrimp to the fish. In turn, you're gut feeding your fish all of these different vitamins, minerals, aminos, proteins, carotenoids, and omegas, and everything. In turn, healthy, beautiful fish, no diseases. And I mean, even put a fish in here with egg on it, these fish will not get it. They won't get it no matter what. They're not going to get it because we've got them so gut fed and so healthy. They won't get it. And we're going to move over in a minute, and I'm going to show you that example in that display because I have a fish over there that's covered, and he's been in there for going on 3 weeks. He had it when I put him in there. None of the other fish have gotten it, and his is starting to go away. So the breeders, you're going to want to use that. Feed your fry this. They'll eat. The fry will eat this. Give me bottom right drawer in there. Grab me phytoplankton in the bottom right drawer. Yep, that one. And then in the bottom drawer, there's small strain. That one. Yep. Pass that up. I just don't want to leave these sitting out too long. Phytoplankton. Clams, everybody knows that. Any kind of crustaceans, scallops, everything exists. Vital. But you can also, breeders, you can feed this to your live foods. You feed this to your live foods, in turn gut feed them, then they're going to eat it. Phytoplankton, fish can eat phytoplankton, but it's so small they have, they're only going to eat a smaller animal that eats it, and then they're going to get the phytoplankton because it's inside the animal they're eating. So breeders are going to definitely want to use that. Same thing, rods. This is going to feed your fry. I know a lot of you want to breed. This will feed your fry. Once they hatch out, you can feed them this, and you can also feed the rotifers the phytoplankton. That's why the water's green. There's phyto in there. They package it and ship it with phytoplankton in it so that they live, they have a shelf life until you take it home. Now you can take both these feeds and dump them right in the tank. That's fine. All the other invertebrates, your crustaceans, your shellfish are all consuming. Small enough. I mean, it's like a 200, 300 micron size. Very small, so they can eat it. The small polyps can consume it. It doesn't clog them up. You're going to feed real well on that. Yeah, you can put in your fuge. It will breed. I mean, you can get it to live in captivity, but not for a long time. It's not going to live for a long time in your tank. Now, you can have a phyto bloom in your tank. I mean, it can happen. It's very rare that you'll have a phyto bloom. I mean, it's